UC Berkeley is known as the pioneer of progressive values, yet the recent sexual assault cases that have occurred have shed light on the incredible lack of accountability by the administration when it comes to handling sexual violence cases. Thus, in response to this, ASUC Senator Anshul Chugh and her office have taken upon themselves to vocalize the need of survivors by hosting the first ever sexual violence conference.
The conference was actually planned starting last year when I ran for ASUC Senate. My campaign team and I really truly believe that we need to have a space to navigate sexual violence with our identities, and we've been planning it since September, and we're really excited to see it come to light. We really believe that this space should be not just a space to talk about sexual violence, but to change the way we talk about sexual violence and talk about it as not just a single narrative, but a multiple narrative. So we want to talk about how this intersects with our identities and also focus on a day of healing tomorrow with decolonized yoga, chai, reflection, and just kind of getting to know folks in our community.
In an effort to have a more inclusive setting for participants, the conference included varied workshops with different themes illustrating diverse issues about sexual assault and violence.
So the workshop that I'm leading is for sexual violence with relation to folks that identify as men. I hope for a lot of folks to kind of get a lot out of the space, and that we can have a conversation about what that looks like. We can talk about intersectionality with queerness, with who is a man, who is male-bodied, who identifies with what kind of experiences, and what does that look like for different folks.
I attended the workshop which related to the sexual violence in the South Asian community. Personally, it was pretty important because I identify as South Asian, and I've grown up in a community where talks about sexual violence have always been a taboo topic and have never been openly discussed. But it was a very enlightening and empowering experience. I felt really comfortable in the space that was created, and listening to a lot of experiences from my peers, I think it was a very encouraging experience.
Survivors and students at UC Berkeley are increasingly finding themselves carrying the weight in addressing sexual violence, although it is the university's response to do so. That is why the Sexual Violence Conference is so imperative and necessary to not only keep the administration accountable, but to provide a space for survivors and students to share and learn.
If the administration would want to do something similar or on the lines like this, where you could have more and more students come out and be aware of the whole issue, awareness is something that needs to be done, in my opinion, and this conference is a great start.
I think that at Berkeley and then other campuses, grassroots movements are extremely important. So what having this conference shows is that the community that cares about sexual assault prevention is small but extremely mighty, and it's growing every day. And I think that this sends a message to administrators here and then also to other campuses that this is an issue that's not going to go away. It's a very powerful issue that needs to be addressed.
I think that once the university really begins to start taking what we call a survivor-centered approach, that will really help in people feeling more comfortable coming forward, but then also it would really help with people feeling more comfortable throughout their time here. That can be making accommodations for them around their class schedule. That can be, making sure that they're in a campus community or an environment that actually makes them feel supported and makes them feel safe. And so that's holding perpetrators accountable, for example. I mean, there are just so many things that campuses, I think, are afraid to do because they don't want to present the campus image as being a place where sexual assault does happen, but sexual assault does happen.